Greetings and welcome. My name is Jake Rayson. I am a forest gardener and a forest garden designer. And today I am talking about using CAD to design a forest garden. And CAD stands for Computer Aided Design. And it has a reputation for being very complicated, and there is a steep learning curve. Luckily for me, I come from a graphics background, so kind of graphics and building computer stuff and all that kind of thing. So I sat down with a manual and I learnt it over a few days, period of a few days. But the good thing is, it's good if you want to create more. If you're creating more than one design and you're kind of constantly kind of doing design work, then I would recommend using it. Yeah, if you want to become a forest garden designer or a garden designer, then totally learn how to use it. It just speeds things up. It makes things an awful lot easier. What you can do, you can use. Where is it gone? Where is it? I've got some 5mm. Oh, I can't see it. No, totally lost it. I've got some 5mm grid paper. So if you're using pencil, use a bigger size you can. I think A3 kind of minimum, and then 5mm grid. Not like graph paper. Graph paper I find a bit fussy if I ever do anything. But I generally do all my work on my planning work on a computer anyway. So let's have a let's get cracking. What you do have to bear in mind is that a CAD, you can see there's like a little image here of a, whoa, that's a, whoa, what's it doing? Oh, don't know what that's doing. The CAD diagram here it looks kind of really complicated, but it is actually very simple. There's two key things that you can do with it. Firstly, you can play with trees, and as in real life, I'm sure you all know that trees are actually quite big, and they're difficult to move around and pick up and try out in different places. With a plan, the idea is that you can pick up a representation of a tree, a symbol of a tree, and then move it around. It's a lot easier to move around, and that's the same whether it's on the paper or whether it's in CAD. But you can pick up a circle which represents a diameter, the final diameter of the tree, and you can move it around the place. So it makes it an awful lot easier. You can play with trees. That's what you can do. The big things and buildings as well. You can pick buildings up and move them over and try them out in different places. The other key thing is that you can calculate lengths and areas really easily, which is actually a massive bonus, more than I thought it would be when I first started out using it, because you need to calculate numbers. So, for example, for a ground cover for an area, I would like to use, you need between 3 and 5 plants per square meter, depending upon the species of plant, the situation, the size of the plant, the cost of the plant, how many you've got. So it's around about that number. But if you can quickly calculate the area of the particular area of a space, you can say, oh, well, this is 15 square meters. And you say 15 times 5 is, something 175. Is that right? Oh, I'm no good with maths. So it's about 75 plants. You go, okay, I need to propagate or buy or whatever it is, 75 plants for this area. And this comes in very useful, so that you don't find yourself going, I've cleared all this area. Shoot, I don't have any plants. You've kind of planned it in advance. So that is another really good reason to use it. But to be fair, you can use a tape measure and go out and measure the area yourself and calculate the area. But I'd always say that's always a good thing to do, whether you're using CAD or whether you're using paper. And then the final thing that CAD is really good for is sharing. It's very easy to share. I can go into CAD and print out a PDF of the CAD plan, which is I do it all the time, and then I can share that with clients or with friends or with my partner on our garden. And it's an easy thing to do, is to share that file. So those are the 3 reasons for using it. What I do want to point out is that some people will go, some people will say, well, it's not the same as being out in the garden. You've got to be out in the garden, observe the garden, be one with the garden. Yeah, of course you do. You know, it's not a substitute. It is a tool to help with that process. You really got to, you have to be out in the garden. You know, you have the person who's putting the plan into action, the person who's actually creating the garden. You need to be there. You need to see what we've got. Yeah, what the ecosystems are, what existing plants, wildlife, trees, hedges, how the water is, where the sun rises, where there's earth, where there's structures, where there's the utilities, all this stuff. You need to be there to be able to put the plan into action properly. There's no substitute. A CAD is not a substitute for what actually is. It's a way of helping to come up with ideas and solutions for what is and how to transform things. So being on the ground is essential. Yep, no one ever says it isn't. Okay, so let's just kick off with, where are my notes? Oh, there they are. Yeah, QCAD. That's the first thing I'm going to talk about. So this is, when I was looking at using CAD, there was one, she was a designer of kids' playgrounds. So she was on a forest garden course, and I was talking to her about CAD, and she uses, there's one called something works. I can't remember what it's called now. It's funny. Anyway, it's hideously expensive. It's like, I don't know, £2,000. I'm sure it's very, very good, but it is £2,000, and I don't really have spare £2,000 kicking around. And so I had a look about, there's a couple of different options. There's free and open source software. I found two that I know of that are in common use. One is called QCAD, which is this one here, qcad.org. Oh, and the other one is LibreCAD. Download them for free. And you can, CAD does have a reputation for being complicated. And it can be immensely complicated because you can use CAD, which stands for computer aided design. You can use it to, when you're designing, I don't know, I've got a little knife thing here, or, this might have been designed in CAD, or, I don't know, anything, objects, kind of really fine, detailed objects, very often they're designed in CAD. So you need to know, they need to be incredibly precise, which is the beauty of CAD. But for our purposes, we're very, very lucky for forest gardens. There are only two essential shapes that you need. There's a line and there's a rectangle. And three essential shapes. There's a line, a circle, and a rectangle, an ellipse, to be honest. Okay, so those are the three essential shapes. Just a word of, not warning, but some people, and I have seen there's a course for permaculture designers, and it looks like a really good course, and I'm not dissing the course at all, but they do use Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, and there's a couple of problems with that. This is the website. It's free to download. That's no good. QCAD, 2D, QCAD. Shop. Oh, it's in the shop. So there are two versions. There's a kind of freebie version, and then there's a paid for version called Professional, and it's cool. It's free version, professional version. Wow, €33 excluding VAT. Right, so 1 year updates. Oh man, that's fine. That's €33. It's so worth doing that for the download. That's I don't know. That's like 25 quid. So buy a copy. Don't moan about it. Buy a copy. And then the other thing to buy is if you do want to go down the CAD route and the QCAD route, the other thing to buy is the book. And I would totally recommend particularly if you're starting. I would recommend it anyway. If you haven't used CAD before, read the book. It's kind of really cool. It did take me quite a long time. It took me a while to get the hang of it. And I would say that depending upon how much time you've got, it'd take you about a week. If you've got a good grounding in computers and you kind of switched on to using technical stuff, I would say it take about a week to get the hang of the basics, enough to be able to use it for doing forest garden design. Okay. So yes, how much is the book? How much is the book? Oh, it's in the online shop. The book. Oh, 30 euros. Yeah, 25. So you're paying 50 quid for the whole lot or something like 50, 60 quid, which is fine. Okay, so that's the software, what we're using. And then I'm going to go back to there. And yeah, let's go and have a look. Let's go and have a look at the old CAD software. So this is the software. And we're using lines, really basic lines. There's lots of options. Don't be worried about options. That's fine. We're using lines. And we're using circles, ellipses. Oh no, I want ellipse. I want that one. There we go. It's going to be a bit chuggy because it's I'm streaming as well. And then we're going to be using rectangles. Is that the right one? Man, it's so funny. There we go. Rectangles. And using these three tools: lines, circles, and rectangles. Lines, ellipses, and rectangles, if you must. These three tools are fine for our purposes. They're absolutely fine. Don't worry about other things as well. I am going to talk about NURBS just because they are called NURBS, and NURBS are brilliant. The name is brilliant. I think a NURB. You've got NURBS in a program, then that's just like, it makes you want to use them. Yeah, NURBS. If you ever come from a drawing background, they're kind of equivalent to Bezier curve. Bezier was a 18th century mathematician. Is that right? 18th century? Don't know. Anyway, those are the curves that you use in Illustrator and Inkscape. But we got NURBS in CAD, which is fantastic. And then what was I going to talk about? Oh yeah. So we've got those are the basic shapes, and then what we do have as well. I'll just quickly mention the key thing is a concept of polylines and being able to measure the area. So because, as I said before, just imagine that circle is a diameter of a tree. Back. Oh, that's a tree. I want to move a tree around. That's the first thing I want to do, is try out circles in different places. And then the other thing I want to do is to be able to measure the area. So if I click on a circle, you can see, let me zoom in. A rectangle. I'll just zoom in down here. Oh, that might need to come up a bit. Hold on. Because I know my face is in the way. Hold on, let me see my face. Is my face? Oh, I don't know. Can you see that? Anyway, there. Area 63, it says. Total area. So that's done for pre-made shapes. That's done. And the same thing if you click on a circle, it'll come up with the area, which is fab. And tell you the diameter of it, which is all good. But for a shape which is made like this is made a shape made out of lines. What you need to do firstly is make sure the line it's a closed space, that the dots snap to it, that the shape you make is exactly spot on. That when you create the shape with the lines, that the dots are that it's totally zoom. I'll zoom in and show you. Okay, so it's because I'm streaming at the same time. So if you see here, that shape isn't closed. You need to make sure, and it does it for you automatically, that it snaps to the end of the next point. So you have a closed shape, and then we can get the area. But just by selecting one rule, you can see it gives you the length of it, but it doesn't give you the area for the whole lot. So if I select all three, it says area length, total length varies, start point, end point. So we want to find the area for a shape that you've created using straight lines. We have to convert it into a polyline. And And this is the big difference between using CAD and using Illustrator, is the concept of lines of shapes. That they kind of treat shapes very differently. So the polyline is kind of like a polyline is a line that it acts as one line, so it joins it all together. And once you join all the lines together and behaves as one line, then you can get the length of it, and then you can get if it's a closed shape, then you can get the area of it. Okay, so polylines, we want to create polylines if we want to get the length and or the area. So if I go draw, and this is not particularly this is all from the book, it's draw polyline from selection, and that's about as hard as it's going to get. And now when I click on that, it gives me an area, which is bloody brilliant. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Can you see that area? 230 square meters, or whatever the units are. Okay, so that is a key thing. There's a concept of lines, which is what you get with the line tool, and then you have to convert the lines into a polyline if you want to get measurements from them. So I'll just show you that again. So I'm going to create any old line, like this is a path, for example. Doobie doobie doo, doobie doobie doo, nice path. You can pretend it's curvy, but it doesn't, it can be a bit blocky. Select, you double click on it, length varies. So make it into a polyline, treats it as one line, and then when we click on it, it goes length 35.88 meters. That's brilliant. So you go, okay, I need to plant a hedge along that path, 36 meters, say, and that's one plant. That's 72 hedgerow plants, half a meter apart, or whatever it is that you're planting. Okay, so that's really one of the most useful things that you can do, is just to learn the difference between a line, which is just individual lines, and polylines, which is a line treated as a whole. Now, to help me and you as well, I have created a template. So I'm going to get rid of that. Don't need that anymore. Another template is for a forest garden, and I've made layers. I'll ignore that. That's something else. So I'm going to use Dan's property again. I hope you don't mind, Dan. And and we're going to create a new drawing from the template. So create new drawing from template, and this is my QCAD forest garden template, which is brilliant. Whee! And you might not be terribly excited. It's got north. I always kind of do north that way, no matter how the land faces. It's just easier to get your head around. And I've got a scale on there as well. So what I'm going to do, and the key thing is, I have created a whole load of different layers already for you, and these are the ones, and it's for me really, I must be fair. These are layers that I use time and time again. So this is what the different colors for the layers make sense to me, and yeah, it works for me. So I have got this template. If you are going to use QCAD, I've got this template up on the internet. Let me get rid of these. In my previous life, I was known as it's still Jake Rayson. I was a web designer, and I've got a GitHub account. So yes, I need to. So I've got the to Grow Digital is the name of my business, and I've got two three repositories on there. If you don't use GitHub, it's where you store code. You can download stuff that I've already done. So I've got a template. So if you go in here, QCAD forest garden template, I've got one already. What am I doing? Here it is. Forest garden template. It's that file there. That's the file that you want. QCAD forest garden template. And then you can figure out how to use it, and then you can use it, and you can create your own file from a template. Let's do it. So we've done it. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to save that as what shall I call it? Test. I shall call it test and put it into a folder on the desktop. CAD test. This is something I made earlier. Dan test. I'll call it Dan test, okay? Because it's Dan's house, so I'm going to be showing you so from above. And then what you can do, I'm going to go through the first stage, and what I will do is just show you the basic tools. So the first stage is going to get the satellite photograph. So this is how I kind of approach every single job that I do, and it's a guideline really. As I said before, you've really, if you're getting involved in the actual creation of the garden itself, you've got to get out there, and you've got to, like, you know, take photos, take video, but be out there and see for yourself where things are. And always measure, you know, measure twice. Always take physical measurements if you possibly can, and adjust them on the map. But always get out there and do your observations. So here I have Bing.com maps. You can use Google Maps, there's Apple Maps, whatever's got the best kind of resolution photograph. This is my friend Dan's house here, and you can see some sheet mulch down here, and he's done a little bit of mowing, shed still standing. So that's kind of very exciting, and take the highest resolution screenshot that you can, and then take it into a program like Photoshop. And I have one called Pixelmator, and make sure when you take the screen grab, take it with the scale on it as well. So you can see down here, yeah, it's got 10-meter scale, and oh dear, we need to work out how many meters there are per pixel. So that's 10 meters, and that's 50 if you can see at the top. Whoa, that's just about C. Can you see that? Oh, spinny wheel of death. 58 pixels. So that's 10 meters divided by 58 pixels gives us I just do the calculation in my head, gives us 0.172413793, I think, meters per pixel. And that's the number that we're going to use. So we're going to use that photograph in the CAD plan and then scale it down. So that gives us a guide for where to put paths and trees and stuff. Okay. So let's just... I made one earlier because I knew that my computer is really old and really slow. I'm going to quit out of Pixelmator, free up some memory. And I am going to import it. So I made one earlier. Import, dun, 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 in your own time, CAD test, satellite.jpg. I made it into a JPEG. Doesn't really matter. Oops. Yes, that's good. Okay. And now I'm going to take that figure, 0.1724, and let me see if I can... I remember last time my head was in the way. I'm going to paste it into the width factor and the height factor, and because you can see from the where the pixels are, that's a 1 meter grid. When you bring an image in, 1 pixel equals 1 meter, but we want 1 meter equals 1 pixel, but we want it to be 0.172 meters to equal 1 pixel. So we just need to scale it down so that when we put the trees on, everything's to scale, and it's all like 1 meter is the same as 1 meter. Yeah, that's the reason we need to scale the image down. Paste that in there. There we go. Let's zoom back out. Hey, oh, I do love CAD. He's so nice. Okay, and we'll lock that layer. You see over here. See, I've locked it. That's it. That's job done. No, not quite job done. All right, so that's the first stage. So we've done the image. We've got the image in. The next stage is to bring in the trees. Now this is where my other little project. So I've got a template that you can download, and the other thing that I've got on the go is a CAD library of forest garden plants. I make the mistakes so you don't have to, and I've made the a whole load of pre-made trees so you can copy and paste them in without having to get into typing stuff in. So that's kind of handy. It's handy for me because I do a lot of designing, and it's handy for you because it saves you a load of work. Now, a bit of a proviso: this isn't ready to use yet. Really, I'm kind of I'm still putting it together. What I would say is, Christ, is that the time? Blimey. What I would say is, Martin Crawford's book, blah, 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 which I talk about every single time if you're doing a forest garden in a cool temperate climate, this is absolutely essential. I've made a spreadsheet for this, and also the So the spreadsheet follows the order, how the plants appear in the book. So it's a very good companion for the book. And the CAD file that I'm doing, I am organising it. I've only done like a couple of bits of a few trees on there so far, but I am organising it in the same way so that the plants they're in the same order. So it makes it easier to organise the trees because there's masses and masses of different plants in there. And I'll just show you that very quickly. So I know that Dan wants, what does he want? What does he want? Sweet chestnut. So I go over here. And these are kind of like what are called symbols, I think, in Illustrator. You can copy one, and then you can paste as many copies as you like, and then you make a change to it. It'll change all of the instances. It'll change all of them. Yeah. So it's like they're called blocks in CAD. So it just speeds things up. You know, you might have half a dozen apple trees, and you don't want to name each individual one. You can go and get them and copy and paste them in. So I'll copy a nut tree. This is a sweet chestnut. I'll just quickly show you what else I've done here as well. Oh, it's slow. So like the apple, it is so cool. Whoa. Right, so I've got like an apple M25. So that's the rootstock. Malus domestica is the botanical name. 6 meters by 6 meters is the height and the diameter. Yep. So you've got all the details there for what it is that you want to place. Actually, I'll get an apple tree. An apple on an MM106 rootstock, 4 meters by 4 meters. I'll paste it in. Oh, I'll paste it in. Lovely. Okay, and now I won't be able. I'm not going to do loads because my computer's really old and slow. And you can see here, it says Apple MM106. And then it comes up as a well, it's behind my face, but there's it's a block. It's like I can copy and paste and it'll be the same one. I can just change it, so it's really handy little feature. And then you can use the files that I've used, the library that I'm creating, and you can copy and paste them in. So then you can just let's have one more apple tree, and that is exactly, that is 4 meters by 4 meters, and you say, oh, is that the right spot for the apple tree? And you go, well, yeah, it's facing south, but it's a bit close to the house and it won't get any westerly sun. So you can see how it can be useful. Oh, okay, I'm going to have to go and get one that this is one I've made earlier. I didn't really want to do that. Oh, I can use, I'll use this one. Okay, this is one I made for the local school. So the same principle. Let's grab a tree, grab an apple, copy and paste it on here. Okay, and there we go. That's how it should do. Yeah, I don't know why it's glitchy thing. Don't know why. Anyway, planning the time. Sorry, the time's kind of running away. So that's getting a tree in and copying and pasting a tree, and you can create a tree from scratch. So you can say the key thing is, as I was saying before, is to be able to position the tree. So here, you create a circle, the diameter that you want, and the diameter in this case is 7 meters, whatever a 7 meter tree is, and you can add text to it, and then you move them around according to where you want them, which is cool. The next thing that you want to be able to do is to put a building in. So say there's a structure here. You can either draw the structure by hand, which is a bit painful, or you can, there's a way of drawing a structure. So let's put in a building, and you can say, oh, well, this is the angle of it. And you can see that there. This is the angle of the drawing. So up at the top here, you can say width, height in meters, and then the angle. So you can align it to other elements in the drawing, and that's how I would do like a house. It's a shame actually, because I wanted to do it with Dan's house and show you, creating a rectangle using that. So angle 25 degrees, and then let's pretend that's Dan's house there, and you pop it in. Okay, and there we go. So that, and then you create polytunnels and the like. So you've got your trees in, you get your structures in, and then finally you want to put your paths in. And I would use, to start off with, I would just use, I'll do it on the boundary here, I would just use the line tool. So dooby, this is the shape, and then you can kind of emulate like curves and things just by clicking lots of times. That's the simplest thing to do. And you say that's the garden there, okay? And as I said before, create the whole lot, draw polyline from selection. That's what we're after. Yeah, polyline from selection, and we zoom back out, and you can see it gives you an area 600 square meters, and you can calculate the ground cover, and you can calculate lengths and all the rest of it. There are a couple at this point, just point out here. So that's your lines. Yep. So circles for trees, rectangles for structures, and then use a line tool for any kind of slightly curvy stuff and irregular shaped things, and use a line tool for that, and then create it into a polyline if you want to get the area for those shapes or the length of those shapes. There is also, obviously, there's loads and loads of other stuff in there, but the tool I use an awful lot is a kind of is a measuring tool. So you can say this point to this point, how far is it? It's 18.4891 meters. Yeah. From the building to the trunk of the tree is 10.44 meters. So there's measuring tools that you can use too. Okay, right then. I think, oh yeah, I was going to show you NURBS very, very quickly because I'm running out of time. NURBS stand for non-uniform rational B-splines. Don't actually know what the hell that means, but they're cool. If you kind of get more advanced, I say stick with this for now, but if you want to kind of get more advanced, just to show you that it's there, I don't actually know how to use them properly, but I just use them for creating curves. So if you want to go, oh, nice curvy shapes, and you want it to be curvy and not horrible and straight, come on, snap on there. There we go. Yeah. So that's NURBS are what you use to create curved lines and to create curved shapes as well. And then there's load of other tools as well. So there's lots of kind of manipulation tools, so you can rotate things and you can kind of combine things. And one I use an awful lot, I actually don't know where the hell it is. Where would it be? Offset. Where is it? Is it that one? I just use the shorthand. So you can offset by a certain distance, so it into a. Oh, there we go. So I'll do it on the polyline. So it's great for kind of creating additional shapes or paths, or you want to have like you've got an area one side and you want to create an offset just for that bit to create a path easily. So yeah, very, very handy bit of kit. There we go. That's all I am going to do today. I think. Sound like structures, paths. Yes. So I hope that is useful. I say it's 40 minutes. There is, to be honest, you really kind of need to spend some quality time learning how to do this bit by bit, not in a half an hour live stream. So I hope that is useful. Thank you very much for watching. Do not forget, this is where the subscribe button comes in. Do not forget to subscribe wherever the button is. Click the subscribe button to my YouTube channel or to the Twitch channel. I have a GoFundMe at Backyard Forest, and I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Backyard Forest. And there we go. Thank you for watching. Bye.